Hiya, I'm a Zamen, and I want to get into Genshin Impact because if I want to become a better YouTuber, then I need to be a bigger degenerate. To this end, I've hired a Harvard professor, Professor Lee Harvey Oswald Lunar III, the very same man who assassinated famous vampire hunter President Abraham Lincoln in 1706. Professor Oswald, or I guess Professor Lunar, since that is your name, please introduce yourself.
Hello, class. I am Professor Lunar, and I am an expert on Genshin Impact lore. I have studied it for the last 5 years of my life, and I know a thing, because I'm a degenerate. Now, class, this is a very long tale, spanning 5 years of research and lore crafting from the highest of individuals. I introduce to you the Furina Lore.
Professor.
Yes, Stira Zamen.
Can we introduce the rest of the peanut gallery real quick?
Oh yes, my student. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm the teacher's pet, and I like to cut in front of people in the school lunch line, like I did just now when another one tried to introduce himself. I also do the extra credit assignments, which are Honkai Starville.
Hi, I'm Dolly Rabbit. I have no interest in this subject at all. I'm just here to be a menace. Speaking of which, I think you need to move that picture a little to the right. There's a white bar on the right side of the slide.
So, let us start with the beginning of our lore. The beginning. The world we now stand in is called Kavat. It is your typical bod standard fantasy world, with yokai dragons and water beings, but not gods or humans. This is where, about 2,000 plus years ago, from where our important character, Furina, is from. Descending from the heavens came the first Descender, or the Heavenly Principles, an entity that created humans, introducing them to Tibet. It is both the Heavenly Principles is both an entity and concepts, as it brought the concept of physics, fate, and heaven, and the last one is still unknown today. Any questions?
Why is it unknown?
Physics?
It has been studied greatly, but we still don't know what the fourth concept was. It is called the fourth shade of heaven.
Wait, can I guess what it was?
Please, take a gander.
Is that how we became degenerates?
No, dear children, we must continue.
Wait, one more question. Why are we talking about Furina?
We're getting it.
Isn't this obvious? Zamen, we just want to talk about your interest. Like, Furina, furries, either you...
Well, we are talking about Furina because Mr. Zamen over here asked me about the heavily intensive lore of a character named Furina, and as a scholar of the subject, waifu bait, I needed to let him know what has happened and why this character exists now. Is that all? All right. Let me
Carry on.
The continuation. So, the Heavenly Principles wanted to create humanity, as that was one of their main concepts. So, they challenged the sovereigns, dragons who embody the very concept of rocks, plants, water, fire, ice, electricity, and wind. Now, the Heavenly Principles fought against these 7 dragon sovereigns, and won. Taking half their power with them, they constructed the first civilization of humanity underground using these powers from the sovereigns. Now, in this civilization, the Heavenly Principles brought them everything they could ever want. A semi-utopia. If they so wanted food, it would rain from the sky. If water, it would raise from the inky depths below. But there was one problem. It was stagnant, because the concept of time had not yet existed. So, the humans created a ritual to summon another Descender, the second one. But there was consequences to this. As with the second Descender, they brought Isareth, which embodied the concept of time and forbidden knowledge. As they did this, they forsook the Heavenly Principles. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. So you said that it rains food, but water comes up from the earth. Shouldn't it be the other way around?
Well, they were in cave systems where the world of Teyvat is, how do I say, upside down. Further below you go, the more technical air there is, sky and brilliance of water. So this far down, beneath the surface, there was a thing called the Abyss, which we'll get into at a later subject. But from there, the Heavenly Principles brought water from there and food from the top of the land.
Oh, so it's not like raining. They just went on the earth and brought it back down.
Correct.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you.
Oh, another thing I must specify. A Descender is a person who can change the fate of Teyvat. As the Heavenly Principles came down, so did the Second Descender. We don't know what the Second Descender was or is, but we know they brought with them Istaroth, the concept of time and forbidden knowledge. Now, humanity's folly. The Heavenly Principles was appalled by humanity, but a higher being than itself, known as Fane, still loved humanity and allowed them to spread across Teyvat, the ones that rejected the Heavenly Principles. But the sovereigns, who were consumed by hate, they hatched a plan. With the brain of the Second Descender, they saw this forbidden knowledge, an inky black substance that, if you ever heard of it, would taint your mind and bring you to basically a state of madness. Now, the sovereigns consumed this forbidden knowledge and started their attack upon humanity. Fane, seeing this attack, destroyed the first sovereigns. Like an angel Michael descending from the heavens, he completely obliterated. But
Professor Lunar?
Yes?
This Michael guy sounds pretty cool. Can you explain him real quick?
Fuck.
Thanks, Professor Lunar. That taught me a lot. Even though it's 3 a.m. right now, I appreciate the 2-hour-long detour you just took.
Thank you, that was great.
Mr. Lunar, why is this class taught at 3 a.m.?
Because it's the only time of your top teacher here, Zamen, can afford to pay me.
Ah, I see. Man, our budget is low at this school.
Now, Fane seeing this attack, they destroyed the first sovereigns. But the concepts of water, grass, and rock are not so easily destroyed, as the first sovereigns kinda melded back into a kinda hatchling state. As the Heavenly Principles attacked the Second Descender. We don't know why, but we know it was for at least a selfish reason. Now, the Gnosis. These are one of the most important artifacts of Teyvat. Now, before the death of the first sovereigns, each one chose a successor. Yes, I know, I did see it as well. Obviously.
Are you severely regretting putting the image on top of your text?
Yes.
Listen, Professor Lunar is flawless. He's made no mistakes. This is all part of his teaching motto. He wants us to fill in the blanks to expand our own minds.
Correct.
Yeah,
Dear Zamen, you are an outstanding student.
Principal Zamen, how much is he paying you to say that?
Literally nothing, but it's not like we have any design students in here, so we don't need to worry about that.
Sometime
camera like The Office.
Sometime during these battles, a third Descender was summoned. We don't know for what reason or why, but they were killed in the ensuing battle. And from their remains, the Heavenly Principles crafted Gnosis, several powerful artifacts, looking like chess pieces. After this, the Heavenly Principles established the 7 Divine Thrones, using the Sovereign's powers as a kind of, how do I say, a throne to be claimed. But one was already taken by a very powerful individual named the Dendro God. But the rest of them were up for grabs as long as they proved powerful. This started the Archon War, where many powerful beings fought against each other. This lasted for 500 years, causing great devastation to the world of Teyvat. But we don't really care about the rest of those, as our focus goes to the first Hydro Archon, the first being Eager, the first Archon of Hydro.
Professor Lunar, quick question.
Yes.
Is it possible? would it theoretically be possible to have more of them at a time, like more than one throne?
No, as the Heavenly Principles use the Dragon Sovereign's powers to establish the thrones, only if more sovereigns were brought into the world to that could another throne be created.
Oh, I mean, like, cause like having the artifact, could I have more than one at the same time?
You could have the both Electro and Geo artifact at the same time. It was basically a mass conductor of elemental power.
Okay, thank you.
I also have a question. Bouncing off of what Mya said, I wanted to ask, why is her forehead so big?
Because that's how anime kinda looks. Now, she obtained the throne and went to the region of Fontaine, which she established. It was a giant ocean built upon tall mountains. She used her oceanid followers, which helped her win the war, followed her to this place, spreading across the land of Teyvat through the oceans. Establishment of Fontaine. There was no people in this region, as it flooded quite regularly. But the oceanids swam from ocean to ocean, and they saw the people. Their tears, their emotions, their being of life, and the ability to create more life. It inspired a spark in them, to say a bit. And they went back to their Archon and wished to be human. Now, their Archon was a very nice individual, even though she literally killed millions in the Archon War. But wanting to please her servants, she used some of the primordial sea from the abyss, basically flooded their veins with it as they shapeshifted to resemble humans. But the Heavenly Principles hated this, saying that they were only ones allowed to create life and cursed the people of Fontaine, stating a great flood would occur, washing the people away and leave the Hydro Archon weeping on her throne. Now, the start of Focalor. Contemplating this great catastrophe, a great cataclysm occurred, killing Eadr. But she had one follower to take the throne after her, Focalor. Looking at the problem, she devised a plan to fool the Heavenly Principles. She contacted the current Hydro Sovereign and asked him to be the Eudits or the judge of Fontaine's people, using a sort of crime system where he was the supreme judge and acted accordingly. She then split herself into two beings. One, Furina, representing her humanity, the want to be human and have all these emotions, and the divinity, Focalor. She then cursed Furina, cursing them to always be alive as long as Focalor was alive, and was unable to age. Furina was still human, I have to mind. Full human body. So, Furina started out to act her role, where she would play the role of Focalor, or the god of Hydro, for the next 500 years. She saw humans die, generations of families, and she still had to act all of this out and keep the lie going that she was Focalor, or else she could not prevent this catastrophe. As Furina played this role, Focalor gathered her people's beliefs, which gave her power, but it took her 500 years until she gathered enough power and established a powerful, basically, suicide device. I don't know if that's out on YouTube.
Listen, Professor Lunar, I made a video about a game all about suicide. I don't think YouTube likes me either way, okay?
Alright.
Professor Lunar, question, where can I get one?
Well, you'll have to spend 500 years gathering your people's powers. But
Professor Lunar, can I have one if I just take a toaster and walk over to my bathtub?
Well, you're human. You're not a god, so yes, you could if you so choose.
But Furina wasn't.
Furina
was human.
No, but here's the thing. Furina played this role for 500 years to gain the power. But Focalor had gathered all this power but she intended not to only destroy herself, but the divine throne that was given to her by the Heavenly Principles to destroy the Hydro Archon throne so that there would never be another Hydro Archon. She did this, and she gave back the Gnosis back to Nymph, who was the Hydro Archon, the Hydro Sovereign at the time, restoring his power back to full. She then condemned him to judge the people of Fontaine. He had spent the last 500 of years living alongside them. His hate, which was once there, grew to a sort of parental role as he cared about the people, and he could not judge them as guilty. So he sentenced them all to being innocent, resolving the people of Fontaine from their sin. And now, the Great Flood did occur in Fontaine, unfortunately, but the people were not washed away. I told you before that the Hydro Archon basically shape-shifted all these Oceanids to humans. With this flood, it would have turned them back to Oceanids and basically wiped out the nation of Fontaine. But the Hydro Sovereign, Nymph, with his new regained power, took some of his own blood and poured it into the humans of Fontaine, turning them into full humans, as they can no longer be washed away. Now, the most important part about this is the ships of Furina.
Let's go!
As she walked out of the courthouse / opera house of Fontaine, she saw that the people of Fontaine had not died and that there was no casualties. And so, we started the ship war.
Professor Lunar, question.
Yes.
Is there an X reader?
There is an X reader.
Let's go!
That is, we most likely call it, developmental understanding, where I know, in my school.
I have a question.
Yeah, yes?
What's with this hat?
The hat? I really don't know. It's most likely a design piece from Poesy Lore about what strange things humans would wear. But it's a pretty cool hat.
It's a top tier hat. It's a top tier hat.
That's the creative interpretation, I see.
There are about...
One more question, Lunar. Wait, one more question, Lunar.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Mr. Oswald. My mistake, sorry.
How dare you? Ban him!
Alright, okay, fine. Professor Lee Harvey Oswald Lunar III, okay? Is this true that this is the first slide you made for this PowerPoint?
Correct.
Well, you make them first.
I had you... I hope you know, this was the first thing I created.
I know, yes.
Furina
You specialize in ships, correct? Shipology, as I believe it's called.
Yes. That is my main field of development.
Professor Lunar, can I talk to you after class about joining your research?
I do have a few too many students, but I guess there is enough room on the ship.
Thank you, I feel honored to join such a noble cause.
Now, Furina had suffered through all of those 500 years. And with the death of Poesy Lore, she was now granted her humanity to age and choose her life to be however she chose. And with that, she chose to be a simp for Aether, my boy. That is the end of my lecture. I will take no questions. Goodbye. I hope you know I did like an hour and a half research for that.
Thank you, Professor Lunar. I'm thankful, but you should probably get out of here right now. I believe the authorities are on their way to arrest you for killing President Abraham Lincoln.
Shit. Shit.
Goodbye. Professor Lunar, you have to go. They don't pay you overtime.
Professor Lunar was later found that day shot 37 times.
I hope you know I'm returning for a video. I'm doing another one of these.
Oh, yes.
And that will wrap up whatever the hell this new series is. I thank my friends for being present. No, we're doing the simping episode next time, but yes, ahem.
Well, I thought the simping was an after-class activity.
Anyway,
if you subscribe to the Patreon, you can get the exclusive simp content.
I do not have a Patreon, but I have been a Zamen, and thank you very much for watching this video. And consider sticking around if you don't hate my voice. My sole goal here is to improve my writing, editing, and speaking as I go on. Goodbye.
Bye.